26. Life and Death, a phenomenon puzzling mortals and laity. This earth witnesses the birth and death of a huge number of animals and plants every day and every moment. Life and death is a universal phenomenon in nature. Everyone has embarked on the journey towards death since the moment of their birth. The happiness of life and the sadness of death are the basic emotions of mortals and laity. When a family welcomes the birth of a child, they are filled with joy, and when they lose a loved one, they experience profound sadness and grief. Apart from extraordinary beings like Jesus and Sakyamuni Buddha, who are transcendent, wise, and free from worldly concerns, few people can escape this cycle of confusion and grasp the true meaning of life and death. The tragedy of life lies in ignorance and the inability to transcend the cycle of life and death. For thousands of years, people have been seeking the way to immortality. Modern medicine and science are also probing into the secrets of longevity. I wonder why people are so happy about life but so grieved at death. Seeking life entails endless troubles, and seeking death brings infinite benefits. What would the world look like if none of the plants and animals on the earth died, and if our great-great-great-grandparents survived until today and each family had a thriving population? Some will think, it would be best if they all die, and we all survive. Well, suppose they all die, and we all survive, see if we are better off. It would be okay as long as we can distinguish who they are and who we are. We must know at the same time that everyone wishes the same as you and me. Then in the end, who is to die and who is to survive? Is it so good to live and so bad to be dead? Take a look at human history, pay a visit to your neighbors, and ponder over the question of what good there is to live and what harm there is to die. Forget about time immemorial, let's talk about the time from Sakyamuni Buddha to the present. How many people have lived a good life, and how many have suffered a bad death? Taking Chinese society as an example, antenatal training has been provided even before a baby is born. Abandoning the music of nature, the greatest creator, God, and Buddha, people spare no efforts to inoculate the fetus with the imperfect music of mankind. Immediately after birth, adults try every means to provide the little babies with toys and cartoons instead of having them get in touch with flowers, birds, insects, and fish in nature. Before the age of schooling, the children have begun their preschool education, learning piano, painting, kung fu, and dancing. They have no opportunity to bring their own instinct into play nor have fun in nature. When the children have just begun to know about the world around them, they will be burdened with heavy and formless pressures. In addition to the heavy school bags and the endless homework, adults spare no efforts to add extra education for them. Moreover, endlessly lecturing began to pour onto children. You must be someone, you have to get full marks in exams, otherwise you'll be lagging behind others. Child, I am doing all this only for your good. You must work hard and strive to become an excellent student. You must enter top-tier middle school and then qualify yourself for study at a prestigious university. Otherwise, you will have no foothold in this society. Why are you so fond of playing, my kid? Look at Xiao Ming, she is so diligent and so promising. You must learn from her. These and many more lectures have left children at a loss. The 100-meter dash begins with middle school. Students are preoccupied with study and examinations day and night, teachers and parents are carefully supervising and urging, and society is imprudently promoting the atmosphere of elites. As a result, the splendor of human nature is inundated in the endless darkness. Is it supposed to be easy after entering university? No, it's not. Comparing oneself to others in terms of food, clothing, housing, and transportation among classmates is a small matter. What's more serious is the forced indoctrination in the field of ideology and the blind and unlimited pursuit of knowledge. University is supposed to be a place to cultivate people with noble moral character, but the majority of universities are not cultivating living, breathing human beings, but rather robots who have lost themselves. We must bring honor to our ancestors, we must win glory for the motherland, and we must win credits for our nation. Colleges have been fostering narrow-minded notions. What's worse, some colleges and organizations are teaching students how to make their first fortune, how to rise in the world, and how to attract handsome men and beautiful women to themselves. This is a worrisome era. The real distress begins with graduation from universities. There are a bewildering number of roads ahead. Which one shall I take? The unbridgeable gap between dreams and reality, the intangible conflicts between ethics and interest, the marriage, the houses, the cars, and the expected splendid success, all these have put university students at loose ends, which has fragmented the entirety of their spiritual nature into an unbearable scene. If university graduates are like this, then those with no university education must have experienced even greater conflicts and misery in mind. Having married and established a family doesn't necessarily mean entering a safe harbor. Heart-wrenching matters often occur. Supporting elderly parents and raising children are common responsibilities, which people can endure. What they may find intolerable are the conflicts and battles between spouses. Additionally, the occurrences of birth, aging, sickness, death, separation from loved ones, resentment, aversion, encountering situations we wish to avoid, and impermanent events can stir up a once beautiful life into chaos. We see people on the streets, each of them looking vigorous and elegant. But once we get to know their inner world, we will find every one of them emaciated and fatigued. Many people in my neighborhood are businessmen. They all have nice houses, servants, and good cars. Then they should be happy and satisfied, right? The answer is no. When I chatted with them one day, one of them said, "Actually, if I have 1,000,000 yuan, RMB, I will be doing well in China." Another person, as if he has heard the talking of an alien, taunted, "A million? What can you do about it? It is barely enough to buy and decorate an apartment." Another said to me, "I heard you are writing a book, right? You are a little old-fashioned. Don't you know that in today's time you are everything if you have money and you are nothing if you don't? Make haste to earn money." Yet another person, a woman, preached, "Nowadays money is God. How much is conscience worth?" I was overwhelmed, and I shuddered. No wonder they are constantly striving, always chasing after every penny, and valuing money over everything else. I see the world as ruled by goblins, devils, and monsters. Am I wrong? Or am I the real devil? Or do I simply not fit in with this world at all? I feel that living is suffering, and human life is rightly a sea of suffering. The sea of suffering is boundless, but turning back is the shore. Turning back. What does turning back mean? Turning back means death. Why die? For living is worse than death. How to die? Nirvana. How can nirvana be achieved? Through self-improvement and self-refinement. How does one self-improve and self-refine? By raising consciousness and increasing wisdom. What is wisdom? Wisdom is the supreme and profound understanding of life and death. How can one acquire supreme and profound wisdom? By understanding what life and death are. Then what is life and what is death? That one is inexplicably brought into the world as a result of karma is called birth and life. That one rushes about blindly and departs the world unjustifiably is called death. Birth is accidental, is death inevitable? Both birth and death are inevitable. Since both death and birth are inevitable, and individuals have no choice and cannot resist, then why do we have to understand life and death? By understanding life and death, one can cast off life and death. How can one cast off life and death? By reaching the realm of no birth, no death. What is the realm of no birth, no death? Elysium world is the realm of no birth, no death. What is Elysium world? Elysium world is one of the 36-dimensional spaces, namely the world described by Jesus and Sakyamuni. Is there really such a world? Or is it only a tale? Yes, there is. I am telling the truth. Then please demonstrate it to me. I cannot, because it is another time-space, which is invisible to the naked eye. The mirages that occur occasionally are part of Elysium world. Then there is no way to see it? Yes, there is. What way? Through spiritual sense. What is spiritual sense? A person has 6 sense organs: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind, which are respectively responsible for the 6 senses: vision, hearing, smell, taste, touch, and spiritual sense. Spiritual sense is the perception in everyone's consciousness and a spiritual nature apperception. Why does my spiritual sense not have such capability? Because your spiritual sense is too dull. Why is my spiritual sense dull? Because it has been polluted. What has polluted my spiritual sense? Your spiritual sense has been polluted by images in nature, the values of human society, and your prejudices. Then how can I restore my spiritual sense? By awakening to the truth. What is awakening to the truth? Awakening to the truth means getting to the bottom of a phenomenon. What is a phenomenon? A phenomenon can be anything that we see, hear, smell, taste, or touch. According to you, there are too many phenomena. Yes, Buddhism talks about 84,000 Dharma pariyas, but actually, Dharma pariyas are unlimited. What is Dharma pariyaya? Dharma pariyaya is a means to grasp a phenomenon and find out the ultimate essence of its essence. What is essence? The essence is something concealed that causes the occurrence of a particular phenomenon. Then what is the ultimate essence of essence? The substrate causing the essence is the ultimate essence. That is to say, the greatest creator is the ultimate essence. Yes. How do we get to know the greatest creator? This book of mine can enlighten you on the understanding of the greatest creator. Oh, I see. What do you see? The birth of man is like falling into the sea of suffering, and so it is something lamentable. The death of man, however, is like being severed from the sea of suffering, and so it is something delightful. Yes, but not entirely. Why? Because death is not the final resting place. Why is death not the final resting place? Didn't you say that man will enter the Elysium world after death? Death is only a surface phenomenon. Behind death is the transmigration of life. Some people will return to the human world after death, some will become animals after death, some will enter the 1,000-year world, and some will go to the 10,000-year world. Only a very limited number of people will go to the Elysium world after death. So how can we feel happy if some people are even worse and are more miserable than in the human world after death? Your preaching about past lives, afterlives, and reincarnation is too inscrutable. How can we believe in something that cannot be proved by science? Science is materialism. Science cannot prove what is beyond the material world. But the universe is composed of material and non-material. Science can only prove half of the universe, not the other half. Take my consciousness, for example. How big is it? What color is it? How heavy is it? What shape does it have? Science cannot provide answers to these and many other questions. Therefore, you cannot entirely negate what cannot be proven by science. Then can you prove that man has past lives and afterlives? Yes. One is the records about past lives in history, which can be found in the literature of many nationalities. Another is the record of facts by the International Near-Death Research Institute. The third is the descriptions by the sages and saints like Jesus and Sakyamuni. These are only legends, hearsays, or religious doctrines, and thus are not convincing. Can you come up with something new? Yes, homosexuality is an example. The rule for the biological world is that same sexes repel each other, and opposite sexes attract each other. So why is there homosexuality? And why can homosexual love be so dear as to risk one's life? This involves the gender of one's past life. If a woman has a past life as a man, the inertia of biology will continue to play its role and will incline her to instinctively like a woman instead of a man, although she has become a woman in this life. When she meets a woman with the same past life, they will easily connect and fall in love with each other. Similarly, if a man has his past life as a woman, then he will still be inclined towards men in this life. Homosexuality is not a morbidity, but a spontaneous instinct, which may fade away with the passage of time. Moreover, there is a saying, rivers and mountains may be changed, but it's hard to alter a man's nature. What is true nature, and why is it unchangeable? Nature refers to innate characteristics. When does nature come into being? Is it during primary school? When held in mother's arms? Since the time of the embryo in the mother's body? Since the time of existence in the womb? Or since the combination of sperm and ovum? If nature begins from the time mentioned above, then there is no question of hard to alter a man's nature. Therefore, it can be concluded that nature has been around for centuries and is deeply rooted, unlikely to change in a relatively short period. We can observe people around us or study some special individuals. By comparing their habits to those of certain animals, we can easily deduce that certain people possess the original nature of those animals. Thus, we can conclude that such people may have been those animals in their past life. For example, for thousands of years, philosophers and thinkers have pondered the question, who am I, but have failed to answer it. Who am I? Am I my family? No, because I am still myself even without my family. Am I my clothes? No, because I am still myself after I undress. Am I my teeth? No, because I am still myself even after losing all my teeth. Am I my hair? No, because I am still myself even if I become bald. Am I my eyes? No, because I am still myself even if I become blind. Am I my legs? No, because I am still myself even if I am amputated. Am I my heart? No, because I am still myself after organ transplantation. Am I my blood? No, because I am still myself even after a blood transfusion. If I am none of these, then who on earth am I? Well, I am Tathagata. What is Tathagata? Tathagata is the essential origin, the consciousness, soul, that already exists beyond the flesh and endures hardships in this world by residing in this home of my flesh. When this home of my flesh ceases to exist, I still exist. All I have to do is find another home. It's like crossing a river. I borrowed a boat, but I would give up the boat and go on shore after I crossed. Buddhism preaches that an enlightened heart is perceptive of nature, which is perceptive of Buddha. If we understand this principle, we are already Tathagata Buddha. We will go directly to the Elysium world after death and won't have to return to the human world to continue struggling. Alright. Regarding the phenomenon of life and death, let's discuss just these briefly. My purpose is not to stick to the facts, but to explain that the phenomenon of life and death, which is difficult to reverse, is determined by the greatest creator and has its own purpose and meaning. Without the greatest creator, there would be no life, let alone life and death.